I think I've mentioned to you all before that I've been taking this series on Sunday mornings with a senior Iyengar teacher from Italy. His name is David Maloney, and been learning some interesting new things. He taught some really neat things about the shoulders and the wrists today. Last Sunday that I've been sharing with my classes this week. So we'll do things slightly differently than usual, and but more or less the same thing, but there are just some new actions. So there might be a little bit more. I'll have you come and watch and do a little bit more maybe demoing at certain points up close so you can see what's going on with various hand and finger positions. Okay. All right, stretch your legs out in front of you just to start with Dandasana. Join your big toes together. You can keep your heels a little bit apart and then spread your other toes away from the big toes. And keep doing that action. And the more you do that action, you should feel some firmness come into the muscles of your legs. The big toe is more the inner quadricep lift and the inner thigh firmness. The little toe movement away from the big toe really helps firm the outer legs and the outer hips. When the legs are firm, that starts the lift upward of the chest. Now we can do more to get the lift in the chest by using the arms and the sides of the torso. So before we come into Swastikasana, go ahead and come into Dandasana and place your palms flat on the floor if they'll reach. Spread your palms well, lengthen up into the armpits, roll your shoulder bones back, bring your shoulder blades together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens well. And feel just the central channel of the body that you can get. This Danda is the staff, and generally people think of that as the spine. So that in Dandasana, or in yoga in general, you're working with the poses and the energetics of the pose to make the spine be more able to support the body. All right, then take your right hand on the inside of the right knee. Pull your foot up so the heel is right underneath the hamstrings of the straight left leg. Take your thumb and turn the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling by pushing on the big toe base joint. Then move your thumb over to that space like we talked about last week between the big toe base joint and the base joint of the other feet toes and turn there. When I turn from that space also, I get more onto the top of my ankle, so there's a more full turn of the foot. And it's just really pretty amazing to me how much that difference makes. Okay, so start on the ball of the foot like we always do. Push and use your fingers to turn onto the top of the foot. Then move that thumb to the space between the big toe base joint and the other base joint of the big toes. And you can walk your fingers a little bit more around the front of the foot also and turn. And you should get right on the top of the foot that way. Just doing that little foot action, I already feel some more firmness coming into my outer hips. Then take your hands and move your calf flesh up toward the ceiling. And externally rotate the thighs, working from the root of the thigh down toward the knee. And as you do that external rotation, you'll feel even more firmness come into the outer hips. So the spine, I was talking about the spine supporting the body, but really it's a more collective or communal effort. The spine is not acting alone. So the organs of action in yoga philosophy are, two of them are the arms and the legs. Also the organ of speech is considered an organ of action as well. So what we have to do in yoga is basically get our organs of action, particularly the arms and the legs, stronger so that they can help with the work of the spine supporting the body. And when you have all the organs of action working together, there's a more harmonious relationship through all the parts of the body. And you can think about that on whatever metaphorical level that resonates with you. For me, it's a very nice image, just sitting here, having everything working together, each part doing its own part, is a very nice metaphor for how we might act in community with other people. All right, then lengthen up through the side ribs again, lift up through the chest and roll your shoulder bones back. Bring your shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body and up a little bit. And don't forget the thumbs and don't forget the forearms, and they can help lift up also. So you'll feel that lift come even more into the chest. And when you feel that, you should also feel a release of the tension of the trapezius muscles down away from your neck. That release also helps settle the brain. I really actually felt as the trapezius went down, part of my brain began that inward journey. And work with your breath to further facilitate that inward turning of the mind. As you inhale, make yourself taller from the tailbone all the way up through the head. Keep that height, and as you exhale, move the prana, or the energy of the breath, outward towards your side ribs and armpits. Inhale, make yourself tall. Keep that height. Exhale, make yourself broad. Inhale, extend yourself. Exhale, expand yourself. Having used the breath to create more of a sense of inner spaciousness, now focus on the exhalation. Use that power of the exhalation to draw your awareness even more deeply into that inner space, that inner landscape of you, the domain of yoga. And from that still place within, let's chant 3 Ms together. Follow that sound with your mind. Follow the reverberation of the sound with your mind. And from that space, inhale once more. Keeping your chest well lifted and broad, bring your chin down to your chest. Then your hands down to your thighs with your palms up. And then raise your head and open your eyes. All right, reach your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana and just take stock of where your arms and your shoulders, how everything feels right now. See how easy or hard it is to straighten the arms. See how easy or hard it is to get the turn of the upper arms, and just observe. And then bring your palms all the way down. And here's the kind of first new way of working the arms that I encountered last Sunday. You're going to stretch your arms out straight, just like you're doing a standing pose. You know, when we do that, there's a tendency for the shoulder bone to roll forward and the trapezius muscles to release up. So the first thing is fix that. Okay? Let your shoulders roll back and your trapezius roll down. Then stretch your arms out through your ring fingers so your arms get really, really straight. Then move your arms back a little bit. Okay? So they're actually behind the torso. Now, as you do that, don't move your rib cage forward, right? But you should feel that your shoulder blades come more into the back, and you should feel more broadness across the collarbones just by moving your arms back behind the torso. Okay, and we're going to do that 2 more times. So as you inhale, make yourself taller, and then as you exhale, let your trapezius muscles release away from your neck. Extend through the ring fingers, and then move your arms back a little bit, and observe that feeling of opening that comes in the collarbones. And 1 more time, inhale, make yourself tall and keep that height. Let your trapezius muscles release away from the neck as you extend through the ring finger, and then move your arms back behind you. Now, keeping that openness in the collarbones, turn your palms up. Tell your trapezius muscles to release away from the neck, and now reach your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana. And just observe the difference. Like for me, there's less tightness in the thoracic spine. There's less effort required to get the arms straight. And the triceps are very nicely turned. Then reach up a little bit more, and then you're going to bring your right hand down to the outside of your right knee, your left hand behind you. Place your one hand on your thigh and the other hand on the blanket behind you or the floor if you're not sitting anything. Keep your elbows broad. Inhale, lift up, make yourself tall. And as you exhale, turn and rotate yourself around. But as you rotate, keep your neck out of it for a while by looking straight ahead. And as you inhale, lift up, make yourself tall, roll the shoulder bones back, and as you exhale, pull on the blanket with your hand and your thigh with your hand, and keep your elbows out wide, and that'll help you bring the turn more into the back of the rib cage. All right, then come all the way back to the center, making yourself tall, reach up into Urdhva Hastasana once again, and then bring your hand down to the outside of your leg on the other side. Press the feet down and energetically lift the ankles up until that comes all the way up under the top of the head. And then exhale and turn. Go ahead and keep looking forward at the screen for the first couple of rotations so that your neck doesn't overturn. Now, as you inhale, you're making space on the vertical plane. Then as you exhale, pull on the blanket with your hand and pull on your knee with your hand as you move your elbows out wide, and you should feel that turn come all the way up into the back ribs. Inhale, lift up, make yourself tall. Keep that height, and as you exhale, turn and rotate. Inhale, lift up, make yourself tall. Exhale, turn and rotate. And one more time, inhale, lift up, make yourself tall. Exhale, turn and rotate. And then on this last time, go ahead and turn your head along with the twist also. All right, then come all the way back to the center, trying to make yourself taller as you untwist. Stretch your legs out into Dandasana again. You know, it's a pretty long time to sit in Swastikasana. So you want to give us a little bit more attention to really getting the legs straight, because they were in a bent leg shape for quite some time. So straighten the legs, open the backs of the knees, do all the foot actions that you know about, and lengthen up through the side ribs and roll the shoulder bones back. Shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body and up a little. And put your palms down on the floor and lift up even more into the armpits by pushing down through the wrists. Dandasana. All right, now do the other leg for Swastikasana. Take your hand on the inside of your left knee. Pull the foot up. For me, I put the heel right next to the blankets that I'm sitting on, and the heel is also just right in the middle of the thigh of my straight leg. So at this point, if I look down, I can actually see my toes kind of poking out on the other side of my leg. Then I take my thumb and put it on the base joint and turn. Then I move the thumb to the divot between the base joint and the ball of the foot and turn more. So I have a more full turn of the foot. It's more comfortable on the top of the foot for me that way too. Right, then do the same thing with the other leg. Bring it in. And do the same adjustments of the feet with your big thumb. And then move the calf flesh up and get your thigh flesh all organized also. So when you get the flesh organized like this, then the sitting bones draw in and you feel that lift coming into the chest. All right, try this side. How does Urdhva Hastasana feel right now as you're sitting? Press the feet down and energetically lift that ankles up, and so you feel that lift come all the way up into the ring fingers. Let the trapezius muscles release away from the neck. All right, now let's try the new approach of getting the arms a little bit further behind the back. Let your trapezius muscles release. Extend through your ring fingers so your arms get very straight. Then exhale so you keep your rib cage back. Move your arms back a little bit behind you. Let your trapezius release. Press down through the feet and lift up through the ankles all the way up through the head. Extend through the ring fingers and move your arms back. Feel how much that opens the collarbones. And one more time, let your trapezius muscles release down. Press down through the feet and lift up on the inhalation all the way up through the crown of the head. Then stretch through the ring fingers and move your arms back. Then keeping your arms back behind you as much as you can, turn your palms up, and then reach your arms way, way, way up into Urdhva Hastasana again. And observe how much straighter the arms are. Observe how the thoracic spine actually helps you lift the arms up a little bit more. All right, then lift up it one more time with your ring fingers, and then bring your hand down for the twist to the first side. And keep your elbows wide, so they're kind of bent apart like this. Right? When you keep the elbows out wide, that really helps you take the twist into the back rib cage. Okay? Also, you can really get even more width by literally pulling on your blankets and pulling the skin of your thigh flesh toward the screen. And when you do those things, you'll feel even more turn come into the shoulder blades. One more time, lift up, make yourself tall, and then exhale, turn and rotate. And then on that third rotation, go ahead and turn your head as well. And then you can push a little bit more and feel how you get even more turn up. And then come all the way back to the center, make yourself taller. Make yourself taller still by being up into Urdhva Hastasana. And then keep your elbows wide as you come down to do the set twist on the second side. I've got pretty short arms, as you know, and long torso. So I actually have my hand more on my thigh, so it's easier to move out wide. If I have it way out by my knee, I can't really get the elbow out wide. So you may need to experiment with exactly where you put the hand on your thigh so you can keep the elbows wide and your shoulders roll back, and then turn, and by pulling on that skin of the leg and by pulling on the blanket, those things will help you turn more. And I'm really feeling that right in the thick part of my thoracic spine. Feels fantastic. As I inhale, lift up and make myself taller still, and then pull with the hands and keep the elbows out wide and turn again. And one more time, inhale, lift up, make yourself very tall. And then as you exhale, turn and rotate yourself around again. And then this time you can go ahead and add your head and then pull one more time. You get a really nice rotation in the back. All right, then come back to the center, observe the effect of those twists and of the arm work. I feel very drawn in toward the central channel of my body. Then stretch your legs out into Dandasana once more. Open the backs of your knees. And now we're going to start off in Adho Mukha Virasana, and I'm going to put a brick on my forehead. If you don't have a brick, you can use a folded blanket. But one thing that's neat about the Virasana after working Swastikasana this way with the feet is the tops of my feet when I'm in Adho Mukha Virasana, they're more ready than usual for this pose because of the extra turn that I did with the thumb position. I'm going to put a little bit of blanket between my buttocks and my heels. And in fact, that felt so good, I'm actually going to move the blanket all the way up so it's back behind my knees. And then I'm going to sit down again. Okay, so now I have the blanket. Partly I'm doing it because I have a little bit of knee pain, residual knee pain in my left knee. But also I find that the blanket actually helps me get the whole shin bone to go down toward the floor. And it also helps smooth out the muscles of the calf. So I start off with a really nice just Virasana in this way. It's a version of Virasana. Then I move my knees out wide enough so when I go down to the floor, my inside of my abdomen is going to be outside of my abdominal muscles are going to be on the inside of the thigh. Okay? All right. Then I'm using a brick for my head so that the neck stays more in line with the spine. That's optional. You can, if it's pose is easy for you, you're welcome to let your head go all the way down to the floor. It just feels better to me with the foam brick. And then stretch your arms out straight, like you're going to do downward facing dog. Here's another thing that I learned from David Maloney, or a different energetic work. Usually I'll say, move your sitting bones down and reach your arms way, way, way forward. Y'all have heard me say that a bunch of times before. But he made a distinction between, you can come up and watch for just a second if you want. So here's my armpit, and there's the center of my armpit. Okay. So what I want you to imagine is from the center of the armpit this way, the armpit is stretching toward your buttocks, okay? But from the center of the armpit this way, the energy is stretching up to the fingers, okay? So the place where you're bifurcating, let's say, the extension forward with the rooting backward is actually right at the center of the armpit, okay? So try that in Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay. It's not a radical shift, but I found rather than just trying to extend my armpits forward, I found when I did both, when I actually started being a little bit more refined and what I actually want from that armpit extension, it had a very nice effect. Okay. So you can try what happens when you just let everything go with the fingers. Okay. It also kind of scrunches the trapezius. What happens when you extend? Take your awareness to that middle part of the armpit and from there lengthen forward. But at the same time, from that middle part of the armpit, also lengthen back. Okay. So that the armpit is actually helping both the rooting of the hip into the heel, but also the extension of the arms forward. And what I find when I did that is it took my thoracic spine in a little bit more down toward the floor. And particularly in this pose, I tend to have a very big hump in my middle back. So anything that I can do to get that to go in is beneficial for the spine. All right, then you're going to come into downward facing dog. So come up onto all fours, spread your palms, turn your triceps, and then push back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you can try that same work here. From the middle of the armpit, can you help your hands root down? But move from the middle of the armpit backward toward your legs, and that action will help your heels root down. I actually found that so successful that I actually had to take a little wider step in my downward facing dog. Okay, now maintain the good work that you have of the arms that you know how to do. And we're going to come up onto the balls of the feet. Been working this a lot. It's not just coming onto the balls of the feet. This is another David Maloney tip. Okay, but to really come up almost so like your feet were literally doing a Chaturanga Dandasana. When they come up that tall, okay, you get some benefit from the toe mashing. Also, it helps you define your arches more. Then when you roll back onto the balls of the feet, roll over the ball of the foot, try to touch that back of the metatarsal on the floor, then extend from the front arch to the middle arch to the back heel, the back heel, well, front heel, and then the front heel to the back heel, and really pull back. Then add the movement from the armpits and the movement from the rib cage. And see how you have your arms and your legs all working together for the spine. And then the head can just naturally hang downward toward the floor, downward facing dog. And then walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Hook your palms and your elbows. And if your back is ready to extend downward, you can pull a little bit with your hands on your elbows. Switch the grip of your elbows. Then place your hands on the floor. Come up to the concave stage. Place your hands on your hips and roll your shoulders back and come all the way up. And I think I shared this next David Maloney tip with you already, but I just wanted to show it to you again. Welcome, Kristen and Uma. I just see that you have joined in since I looked at the participant list. Okay, so normally when we put the hand on the elbow or interlace the hands like this, typically I do it with the thumb on one side and the fingers on the other side. That feels fine, okay? But what I want you to try this time when we go back into Uttanasana is to move the thumb to the finger side. We're gonna do both. And you're actually gonna feel, or I do, a significant difference in how much more you can go down just by doing this little shift of the thumb. Okay, so is that clear? But normally the thumb, we do it, and it's not bad. The thumb is on this side and the fingers are on the other side. But what I want you to do is bring the thumb to the finger side. We'll do both, okay? That makes sense? And I just want you to feel how radically different using the thumb in that way is, potentially radically different. All right, so start off with your feet hip width apart. Spread your toes, lift the quadriceps and turn the thighs in. And then we're gonna fold forward. And you can start out with your fingertips on the floor or your hands on bricks if your hamstrings are not really ready yet. Get your leg actions going. Let them draw the abdomen in and extend the spine down. Then do the first one we normally do. Thumb on one side, fingers on the other side, and pull down. Then shift the thumb to the finger side and pull again. And what happens for me is just that thumb shift really enables me to extend from the base of the spine all the way downward toward the floor, much more fully. All right, then switch the interlock. And try again. What happens when your thumbs are away from the fingers? It's not that it doesn't work, it works. Yeah. But when you put your thumbs with the fingers and you pull down, it's even more effective. I feel that that movement engages from my whole spine, like I said. And place your hands on the floor, your fingertips on the floor, come back to the concave stage, and then use your hands on your hips and roll yourself up. All right, and then go ahead and stand in Dandasana. Sorry, stand in Tadasana, the standing version of Dandasana. I'll be back in just 1 second. I want to get something to show you. Okay, sorry that didn't have everything prepared. This is a sticky mat. You might ask why can't you do that one, but I wanted to show you something up close. We're gonna do a couple different versions of downward facing dog that are kind of new. Okay, normally, and we'll do this one, you know how you hold on to the sides of the sticky mat and that turns the upper arms and you go into downward facing dog. We're gonna do that one, okay? Then we're gonna come back to regular dog. But then this new way, I think I showed you a couple weeks ago that David Maloney uses, is to actually hold the front edge of the sticky mat like this, right? And what I actually do is I get my fingernails on the floor and pull forward, and I think you'll feel that it really works the arms and the shoulders differently, okay? So we're gonna do palms out. Well, we're gonna do regular dog first, then palms turned out dog, back to regular dog, then we're gonna try the new way of holding the mat and then go back to regular dog. Got it? All right. All right, so come into regular downward facing dog. And just take stock. So some things that you should notice. Where is the weight on your hands? Just naturally without you doing anything to change. How much extension are you feeling in your spine? How straight are your arms? I should have said that before the spine. How well are your legs working? How does the abdomen feel? How does the brain feel? Those are just all inquiries that you should make in this downward facing dog so that when we do all of these different hand variations and come back to downward facing dog, you'll actually feel a little bit more of what each variation does. Okay, so the first one is one we do all the time. We often give it to people when their hands are sticking on the, sliding on the mat, or when they're very stiff in the shoulders. And it's good to do because you'll probably see already before you go up that the arms are rotating in the correct direction. One drawback I'll just say of this pose is for the elbow hyperextenders, it's easy to over rotate at the elbow in this position. So if that's you, push a little bit more through the thumbs into the sticky mat, right? Then go up. Now, when you're in downward facing dog with your hands pulling on the sticky mat like this, pull the hands on the sticky mat away from you. You'll feel the armpits open. It's very nice. I feel the thoracic going in. I feel my heels coming down to the floor. Well, that's really good. Then lower your knees down, turn your palms back to regular Adho Mukha Svanasana, and then come into that pose. And observe, what did the arms turning out give your downward facing dog? Just speaking for myself, I feel that I have more weight in the front part of the palm and more weight in the thumb side of the hand. And I feel my thoracic spine has moved in some, which is very nice. And I felt maybe a little bit more in my legs. Okay. All right, then come down and rest. Okay, now we're gonna try the one where you're gonna tuck your fingers around the top of the mat. Now, if you tuck too much, it can be a little hard on the knuckles. So I'm just tucking where my fingernails are on the floor. My knuckles are not really pushing into the floor. Before you even go up, you might notice that the elbows aren't turned quite as much, but the arm is really, really straight. Right now, go up into downward facing dog.
And when you go into downward facing dog now, pull that sticky mat forward away from your legs and feel how that shoots the weight of the pose back into the legs. And I already feel even more opening in the thoracic spine. Now add your armpit movement back, your rib cage movement back, and pull your thighs back and see how that begins to get you even more deeply into the pose. And then release and come down. Put your hands in regular downward facing dog. I can feel already that I have more even distribution of how my palms are interacting with the floor. I can still push a little bit more through the thumb and the first finger. And then push back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And so I really feel that the whole armpits are already moving back, that I have my abdomen drawing in, and there's even more release in the thoracic spine. All right, walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Extend downward. Then come back to the concave stage. Place your hands on your hips and roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way back up to Tadasana. Mountain pose. Oh, I need to move this back. All right. And observe how this mountain pose feels as opposed to other mountain poses. You just make your observation. I don't mind sharing my observation, obviously, but I do want to also be mindful of giving you the opportunity with this in this setting to have your own experience as well. So just observe. Observe the various places where you can feel, where you should know what to be beginning to be looking for. All right, we're going to do a little bit of more arm opening in Urdhva Hastasana. All right, you don't need to see my legs, but I'm just coming where you can see my arms. So I'm gonna, okay, first we'll do what we normally do. Okay, I think we've done this a couple times already. We'll put the hand on the middle of the arm and you're gonna turn it. It works great, but it works even better if you take your hand way down by your armpit and turn, then move the hand up and turn, and then move the hand up by the elbow and turn. Then we're gonna bend the elbow, put the hand on the elbow, reach the arm back, and then we're going to straighten the arm up. Okay? Ready? All right, Urdhva Hastasana with one arm. Ardha Urdhva Hastasana, you could say. All right, so reach your right arm up. Let the trapezius muscle release away. Now take your hand like we normally do and just put it on the middle of the arm and turn. When you turn that way, observe the effect on the shoulder blade and on the shoulder bone. And you feel something. Okay, so it's not that this is wrong or ineffective. It does good action. But what if you go to the root and do that same thing? Grip and turn. Don't you feel a different effect? Doesn't the shoulder blade get more engaged and the shoulder bone move in? Then when you go to the middle place and turn, it's even more effective. And I'm feeling that without even really pushing, I'm feeling that my arm is already going back a little bit more. Then I go up to the elbow and turn, extend through the ring finger. Now I reach the arm way back behind me. Now when you're standing, you have to work even more not to poke the rib cage forward. So exhale a little bit and draw your abdomen in. And if you know you're a rib cage poker, you may need to really move the ribs back and buttock flesh down more actively. All right, and then reach that arm up and then bring the arm down. Again, before you do the second side, observe the effect. What feels different about this side of the chest, this shoulder blade, this shoulder bone? For me, it feels almost like that there's like a little balloon on the inside that opened and spread everything out more fully. It makes me want to do the other side. So start off, reach your left arm up. Keep all your leg actions going. Okay, so everything you know to do about your Tadasana legs, you do them. Yeah. as we're doing this new work in the arms. Okay, so first start with what we normally do, which is putting the hand on the middle of the arm and turning, and observe what happens. Doesn't the shoulder bone go in? Don't the shoulder blades move in? All that's great. But what happens when we move down near the armpit and turn from there? Then a different part of the shoulder blade and the shoulder bone move in, which then when you go back and do this second one again, there's even more good effect. Then go up near the armpit and turn. Move your arm way, way, way back behind you and extend up through the ring finger again. And then reach both arms up into Urdhva Hastasana and then try to go into Urdhva Namaskarasana. Try to keep your whole palms together as you reach your fingers up. Hard to do. And then you're going to release and come down. Okay, so we're going to do that arm out action again and lift the arms up, and then we're going to try a different approach. Okay. So stand in Tadasana. Reach your arms out wide, like you're doing a standing pose. Okay. Move the trapezius muscles down and reach your ring fingers forward out. Move the arms back and feel the collarbones. Do that 2 more times. Extend out, move back, trapezius down, extend through the rib cage, move your arms back. Now feel that opening in the collarbones. Feel how straight your arms are as you turn your palms up. Keep all that opening in the collarbones. Keep your trapezius away from the neck as you're trying to go into Urdhva Namaskarasana again. And you maybe will see just on me and observe on yourself that my arms are a little further back and my arms are straighter. Now press the thumb side of your palm in even more toward each other. Try to join the thumbs with the fingers and reach up again, and you'll feel that thumb movement takes the thoracic in. And then come down. Okay, so what I mean by this, so Urdhva Namaskarasana is a pose I've been working on a lot. Normally, what I know my palms are supposed to get together. So normally what I do is I cross my thumbs over each other to try and help this thumb side of my hand push against each other. Okay. It kind of works, but it also kind of doesn't work. Okay. What I want to do instead is really join, this is what I'm talking about, the base mound of the thumb. I want to press those together as much as I can. Then, it's really hard, I want to join my thumbs with the other fingers, but when I do that, what I notice is that my thumb joint is moved apart a little bit. So I have to really press that thumb side of the hand against each other as I then join the thumbs with the other fingers, okay? Try it in Namaskarasana first and see if you can feel the difference. Okay. So in Namaskar, you can just join your palms. Okay? And in fact, we actually a lot of times do say keep the thumb right near the heart, which symbolizes your inner self, and the fingers go outward, right, toward other people. But this time, well, and you can do that. Press your thumbs and palms completely against each other. And notice how the thumb joint doesn't want to do it. Marcia, if this is all too much on your wrist, be sensible with all this work, okay? All right, and then see what happens in your trapezius, actually, when you move your thumb to be with your fingers. Doesn't it kind of draw the trapezius muscle down? And just that movement of the thumb. And then you may notice, oh, when I join my thumb with the fingers, oh, I lost a little bit of that pressure of the base joint of the thumb, so I have to press a little bit more there. Okay? So we're going to try that in Urdhva Hastasana and the Urdhva Namaskarasana again, and then we're going to come down into Utkatasana a couple times. Okay, so stretch your arms out, release the trapezius down. This time go ahead and move your arms as far back behind you as you can. Don't do it in stages. Then turn your arms up, and then when you go into Urdhva Namaskarasana, try not to hook your thumbs. Try to get out of that habit, which I myself have. Now join your thumbs and palms against each other. Really press through the base joint of the thumb and then join the thumb with the other fingers, and you'll feel yourself push up more, and you should feel your thoracic spine draw in. Now keep reaching up with your hands as you bend your knees down to Utkatasana. See if you can sit a little bit lower and step a little further forward, and then move your arms further back so that thoracic goes in, and then straighten your arms, straighten your legs, and then release your hands and come into Tadasana. In this Tadasana, I'm really feeling my thoracic spine drawing in, and I'm feeling from the bent leg position, I'm now feeling a little bit more lift in my abdomen. All right, one more time for Utkatasana. Stretch your arms out. Trapezius down, extend through your rib cage. Now move your arms as far back behind you as you can. You don't have to do it in stages anymore. You can just reach. Now as you do that, the caution is don't hook your rib cage forward. Okay, so as you're moving your arms back, you have to keep the weight in the heels and the abdomen in and move your arms back. Then turn the palms up. Now as you reach up, keep your trapezius muscles down. Don't cross your thumbs. Instead, reach to join the whole palm. And this time I proactively put my thumbs with my other fingers, so they have somewhere to be. Right now, reach up with your ring fingers, feel how that draws the abdomen in also, and bend your knees and come down. Reach up through the ring finger, bend your knees down, reach up through the ring finger, bend a little bit more, and press into your back heel, reach with your hands up, and release and come all the way down. And again, observe your Tadasana. Okay, so that's one approach to Urdhva Namaskar that was kind of implied in some of David's actions or work that I extrapolated from. But here's another approach to getting into Urdhva Namaskar. What you're going to do is place your hands behind your back, okay, or behind your head. Okay, and they're already together. They're pre-joined. Okay? And then you're going to let the trapezius muscles release, the triceps turn, and then you'll just straighten your arms and sneak up into Urdhva Namaskar. It's the stealth approach, okay? All right, so reach your arms up, bend both of your elbows. So your elbows are more or less in headstand position, maybe a little bit narrow, okay? Because your palms are together rather than having your fingers interlaced. Okay, so do your best Namaskarasana work here. Press the whole palm together, particularly the thumb side of the hand. Join the thumbs with the other fingers. Let the trapezius muscle release. Turn your triceps from the outside in. Reach your palms back toward the wall behind you, and then straighten your arms up into Namaskarasana and see what you got. And having seen what you got, bend your knees again. Bend your knees a little bit lower. Tip a little bit forward. Sit a little bit deeper. Straighten the arms. Come all the way up. And then release. And come back into Tadasana. For me, that one really got more lift in the thoracic, and I feel a lot more broadness across the collarbones. I also feel my shoulder blades are just kind of stayed in a little bit more. Okay, so that action of the arms, palms together, and or that shape of the arms and that corresponding actions, we're going to do a version of downward facing dog with the hands in this position. And the forearm will be completely on the floor. It's like a version of, sometimes we call hands together dog dolphin, right? But it's still a version of downward facing dog. Okay, so you're going to come down onto your hands and your knees. Join your palms together. And then we're actually going to try it with the thumbs pointing up and then going down toward the fingers, because you'll really feel the difference. Okay, so you can start off with the thumbs pointing up. Now, slide from the elbows through the ring finger, and you'll feel the whole forearm bone engage on the floor. Push the part of the wrist just below the palm down. Right. Press the palms against each other, and then go up into downward facing dog here. Your elbows are on the floor. Extend from your elbows through that ring finger, push the wrist down into the floor, then join your thumbs with the other fingers and see how that gets you even more deeply moving into the thoracic spine. When I actually joined the thumbs, my head went right to the floor. So all that to say, the thumbs are pretty important. All right, and then release and come down. And just like we've done before, check and see what that does for your regular dog. So palms out. And then see, what did that version of downward facing dog on your forearms give regular dog? I feel much, much more engaged, full engagement of the palm. I even feel my finger pads pressing more. And I feel that my heels are really quite rooted already, but I know I can do more. So I'm going to come up onto the balls of the feet and all the way up into that chaturanga position. Then I press those hands down and forward, roll over the heels, extend back through the armpits, through the rib cage, and then pull my head down toward the floor. Feels great. All right, then walk forward till your feet are right underneath your hips. Place your hands on your pelvic bones. Roll your shoulder bones back and come all the way up. Okay, we're gonna do Prasarita Padottanasana, and then we're gonna do a new approach to getting into headstand, okay, just to get our Prasarita in because it feels so good. All right, so we've done a lot of Uttanasana, we've done a lot of dog, so we've gotten a lot of the immunity sequence in, even as we were really kind of just working the arms and the shoulders differently. So bring your feet out wide. Spread your toes like you're doing in Dandasana. Lift the quadriceps and the inner thighs. Keep your hands on your hips at first and just look up toward the ceiling. And keep your legs strong. Keep the sides of the torso long and fold forward and bring your hands down to the floor. Go ahead and take advantage of the concave stage. You can put your hands on bricks if you want to. I often do. Mine are just a little far away. Good. Then turn the fingers so they go out wide. So we feel that effect in the shoulder blade, right? That's in the shoulder bone. That's really what we've been working on all class. Turn your fingers back so that they line the opposite way of the toes and feel the effect in the shoulders. Then bring the hands back around. Walk your hands back to the second stage of the concave stage. I'm wiggling a little further out. And then with my feet, and then come into Prasarita Padottanasana. Spread your toes well, suck your outer ankles in, lift up through the quadriceps and the inner thighs, and press your palms down and lift your shoulders up away from your ears. Keeping your shoulders away from your ears, reach your hands back behind your feet with your palms turned up toward the ceiling. And press your hands down and lift your shoulders up from there. Then keeping your shoulders nice and lifted like this, bring your hands out wide to the outer legs. Squeeze the outer legs, lift the shoulders up, and feel that broadness of the collarbone that comes when your elbows are out wide. Feels fantastic. Then come back up into the concave stage. I walk my feet in a little bit as I come all the way up. And just like usual, stand in Tadasana. Okay, so the slightly different approach to Shirshasana is that we're gonna do that elbow together, down, or not elbow together, palm together, downward facing dog again first. Okay? And then you're just gonna, from there, you're just gonna sneak your hands into headstand position, okay? Because you've got this nice forearm engagement. So you don't wanna lose that. You'll just sneak your hands in and put your head on the floor and go up into Shirshasana. If you don't do Shirshasana, you're just gonna repeat either with the palms like this, or you'll bring your hands together and just keep your head off the floor, okay? So you don't have to put your head down on the floor at all. If you are doing that way and not going up into Shirshasana, be sure to come down and rest a couple of times because that's actually energetically harder to hold than headstand, okay? All right, so you're gonna come down onto the floor. Place your palms together. We already know it's really good to put your thumbs against the palms also. Now from your elbows, extend through the little fingers and feel how that whole forearm goes onto the floor. That's what your forearm should feel like when you're doing Shirshasana. Okay. Then come up into downward facing dog. In this position again, feel how firm your wrist bones are on the floor. Okay. Then just sneak your hands into Shirshasana and try and get that same forearm feeling. It's a little harder because the little finger is in the way, so you have to press more through the forearms. Then you're just gonna walk in, place your head in your normal headstand position, and then you're gonna come up. For me, it is a really nice, light feeling headstand because I've got so much forearm engagement and all of that's going well. It also keeps me from over gripping my head, but I can feel that thumb base joint against my head very nicely. From all the shoulder work, I'm feeling that my shoulders are actually lifting almost effortlessly, and there's a nice feeling of freedom in my neck and trapezius area. Now, those of you who are just doing the headless headstand prep, you should come down and rest in Adho Mukha Virasana for a few breaths. Then you can go up and try one more time. Those of you in Shirshasana, keep pressing your forearms down. Keep lifting your shoulders up. Karen, you can move your legs a little bit over to the right. Uma, your legs are way over to the right, so you need to move them to the left. Same thing, Pratima, your legs are way over to the right, so you have to move them to the left and extend more through the inner feet. That looks really good, Gay. Extend a little bit more through the inner legs. Marsha, you look pretty good also. I can't totally see your legs, but they look like they're in the right position. All right, again, if I'm not making a correction, Bob, yours also look pretty good. Your elbows, Bob, might be a little bit too close together. Okay. Vicki, a little bit more through your right leg. Okay. All right. Now, those of you who are doing the prep, you can come back up if you want for one more time, but we're gonna come, actually we're gonna come, I'll come down, okay? So I'm moving back out of this view. Canceling the spotlight. And I'm gonna put the spotlight back on me. All right, and then rest in downward facing child's pose. Those all look pretty good. You know, in general, I'm not coming to make individual corrections, partly because I know some people don't want it, okay? But I do think it's important, those of you who are doing the inversions, to get a little bit of direct feedback from the inversions because they're so central to yoga practice. And doing the inversion preparations are also completely very, very beneficial. They're in fact, in many ways, like I said, harder than headstand itself. So that's why you need to come down, rest, and then go back in. Yeah, so. Okay, so here's another big new thing that I learned, and it's aimed at going towards Sarvangasana 2, okay, those of you who know that pose. And my interpretation of Sarvangasana 2 was, generally speaking, that you were supposed to turn the palms way, way out like this. His version of it is your palms are a little bit more together and you just turn down a little bit. Okay. So it's just, but that movement in, you're still turning the arms out. But we're gonna go through a whole series of little hand, thumb things that he showed, and trying to get it where you can see. Okay, the first one, you're gonna keep your palms, maybe if I put it lower than me, you'll see better. Okay, see how my palms are out wide like this? Okay, and what I'm gonna do is, like I could move my thumbs away from each other, I'm pulling my fingers against each other, and my one thumb is on top of the other, okay? That's the first stage, we're gonna do that. Then you're gonna join your palms together and cross the thumbs, okay? Then you're gonna turn them, but just a little bit, okay? So that the thumb part of the hand goes down, all right? But the main thing in all of this work is the upper arms still have to turn this way, even as you're turning the lower arm down, okay? So the upper arms have to stay open so the collarbone stays broad. Anyone have any questions about that? We're gonna do it first in front of us, and then we're gonna do the work behind the back, okay? All right, so you can go ahead and stand up. I think it works better standing. This is all preparation for eventually doing it in Sarvangasana 2. Okay, so start with your hands out in front of you. Cross the left, one finger over the other, obviously. Put your thumbs on top of each other, and then you're gonna pull your fingers, push the fingers a little bit against the palm, and then pull, like you're gonna pull your fingers apart from each other, and observe that effect in your back and your shoulder blades. As you're here, the upper arms are pretty much automatically turned in the correct direction. So as you work to bring your palms together and cross the thumbs, keep turning your upper arm externally. Okay, that's stage 1, or stage 2, let's say. Now here comes the new thing. I'm just going to turn the thumb side of my hand down a little bit, but it really releases tension in the arms and in the hands. In fact, you're just going to bring your hands down and you'll probably feel a big difference. Now, I've been doing this not quite every day, but almost every day since I learned it on Sunday. But even after the first learning of it on Sunday, I could already feel how much more freedom I had in my hands and my thumbs. Okay? Which I one of the other things on my litany of physical complaints that I deal with. Okay, so now we're going to switch the grip. So now do the opposite finger on top.
Okay, and on the third position, it's hard to keep the elbow straight when you.
I know, that's why that's what we're trying to do though. You have to keep the elbows straight and you have to get the arms to turn even as it's just a little bit though, Pratima. You don't have to turn all the way like this. It's just a tiny little turn, okay? So it's not you can push the thumbs against each other, but yes, that's the challenge. And it's gonna be even harder to keep the arms straight when it's behind your back. But the idea of this arm work is that it helps you also mobilize the back of the thoracic spine. And if your elbows drop, the chest drops and the thoracic spine goes in, okay? So thank you for bringing that up because you do want to keep the arms as straight as possible, okay? All right, so ready? Let's do it one more time. Pull your fingers against each other and also push the fingers into the palm. Now it's easy to keep the arms straight here, okay? Keep your triceps turned. The second position, it's also pretty easy to keep the elbows straight. Now maintain the straightness of the elbows and the turn of the upper arms and just turn the thumbs a little bit. It's a nice stretch on the fingers too. And then release your hands down. Okay, wow, I can really feel it even releasing tension in my forearms also. Okay. And now we're gonna do it behind the back. It's harder, okay? So you're gonna have to, it's harder, but it's worth it. All right, so lengthen up into your armpits and roll your shoulders back here. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. And I'm gonna start off with my thumbs a little bit away from my buttocks, okay? But I'm reaching them down toward the floor. So now pull your thumbs against each other. And when you I keep on saying thumbs, pull the fingers against each other and observe how that action brings the shoulder blades more onto the back already. Then try to keep your elbows straight, even if they bend a little bit, try to keep them straight. Mine, truth in yoga here, Satya, mine did bend a little bit, Pratima. Okay. But once I noticed that they bend, I re-straightened them and I made sure my triceps were still turning in the correct direction. Now my elbows are straight and I'm gonna go to that third stage where just a little bit, I turn my thumb side of my wrist away from my body and observe how that takes the thoracic spine in, particularly if you keep lengthening back through the fingers at the same time. All right, notice which finger you have on top and release and just stand in Tadasana and observe the different energetic moving through the chest. I can actually really see, wow, my collarbones look broader. My neck is going up more and my trapezius is released just by doing this kind of brutal handwork. I mean, it's hard. I mean, this is the 7th time I've done it now, so it's a little bit easier, but when he was introducing it on Sunday, it was super, super hard for me. Okay? So if it's super, super hard for you, I know where you are. Okay? But I could immediately feel, once I stopped, okay, I could immediately feel the good effect. Okay? It really just released so much pain and tightness that I carry around in my thumb and my fingers all the time. Okay? All right, so let's do the second side. Okay, so reach up through your arms. I keep the elbows bent first sometimes to get a good grip, and then straighten your arms all the way back. Okay, now pull your fingers against each other. Also push the fingers into the back of the palm, but reach your knuckles down toward the floor. And that reach of the arms away is what partly begins that movement of the thoracic spine in. All right, now try not to bend the elbows, join your thumbs against each other and cross one thumb over the other. Now truthfully, my elbows are a little bent. So I'm gonna re-straighten them and really turn the tricep from the outside in. Then I'm gonna try extending through the knuckles and then turn that thumb a little bit. And I really feel that thoracic spine, particularly the right side, which is a little bit more out, goes in. And then I'm gonna release, try not to sink, so I keep all the good ground I got. And then I'm just gonna see, gee, what happens when I raise my arms all the way up above my head? And then release yourself down. Okay, the next thing, when David Maloney was teaching it, he actually went right into Halasana and did those same hand positions with the feet up on a chair. I was thinking about it, and I added Chatushpadasana. Okay, so we're gonna do that same hand position work while we're in Chatushpadasana, and I think you'll really feel how that affects the thoracic spine. Okay, then I'm gonna take a look at our time, and if we have time after that to set up for Halasana, we'll do it in Halasana also. Okay, so let's get going on Chatushpadasana, so lie down on the floor. I did move where you can see my hands, but you actually don't want to turn your head to look at the screen, okay? So if you want to watch, you need to sit up and watch and then join. Okay, so my feet are down, and even before I go up, I can feel vitality that has come into the chest. Now press your feet down into the floor and lift your buttocks up high. Now we haven't done a lot for the buttocks today, so really move your hamstrings and your buttocks toward each other and take your tailbone in, and you'll feel the front groin open. Okay. Now, interlace your fingers for stage 1, and you'll find already you can tuck your shoulders in more. Okay. Now, pull your fingers away from each other, and also extend your knuckles toward your feet, but push your weight. You'll feel when you do that, it takes the thoracic spine in, and it opens your chest more. That's stage 1. And now try without bending your elbows. I have to bend mine a little bit. I'm not perfect. But once I get my palms together, then I'm gonna re-straighten my arms and really press that whole arm into the floor. Now push your thumbs against each other, extend your knuckles toward your feet, and then feel how that thoracic spine goes in more. And then as you turn your thumbs down toward the floor a little bit, you should feel that takes the thoracic spine in even more. And for me, it just feels absolutely fantastic on my neck. And then I'm gonna try and keep all of the opening in my chest as I come down before I do the second side. And I really do just feel the neck feels free, my chest feels good, my brain feels good. I say, hey, there really is something to this yoga. And I say, okay, yeah, let's do the second side. So bend your legs up again if you straighten them out. Press your feet down and lift your buttocks up high.
Question.
Yep.
In the third position, how much of your thumb base joint stays together when you tip everything back away?
As much as you can, but the bottom part of my thumb base joint is moving apart a little bit.
Okay.
But I think you're supposed to keep it as close together as you can. Okay, good question, and thank you for asking the question, both Pratima and Vicky. I'm completely happy to answer, and you're exhibiting excellent studentship by just shouting out, question. So feel free and empowered to do that, everyone. All right, so second side. All right, so press your feet down and lift your buttocks up high. Check in with your hands. Are your hamstrings and your buttocks really working toward each other? That helps your tailbone go in. Then tuck your shoulders underneath you and interlace your fingers the opposite way. Then, in this position here, you can tuck your shoulders even more, so you're getting onto the tops of the shoulders rather than the neck. Push the palms, upper arms down into the floor and the lower arms down into the floor as you pull your fingers away from each other.
And you'll feel that, particularly if you extend through your knuckles through your feet, that takes the thoracic spine in. All right, now I do have to bend my elbows a little bit to get my palms together, but I'm going to try and minimize that. Then once I've got my palms together and the thumb hooked under, I can tuck in even more. I'm going to push my base joints at this point, Vicki, are actually not completely touching, but that is a limitation of me. So I'm trying as much as I can. Okay. All right, then even more when I push them down toward the floor, they're not completely touching, but I'm trying to keep them moving toward each other at least. I think I'll say that way. Okay. And then I just feel that thoracic spine move in and massive release in the neck. And then come down.
All right, let's set up for, just so you can kind of feel it, we're gonna set up as efficiently as you can for Sarvangasana. If you have a chair or something to put your legs on for Halasana, it will be easier to do this work in Halasana. If you don't do Sarvangasana, which is shoulder stand, you could repeat the Chatushpadasana and then go into legs up the wall pose, okay? But go ahead and set up for shoulder stand. Those of you who are doing it with your shoulder stand set up. And you want the folded edge of your blankets going in toward the chair. I haven't been using a strap with this work, but I am wondering if maybe if you put a strap right on your elbows, it might help keep the elbows straight. But you can, I will experiment with that and report back to you. Okay. All right, so you've got your setup for Sarvangasana, hopefully. Again, if you aren't doing shoulder stand, it's totally fine. Repeat Chatushpadasana, which is what we did, and then go back to legs up the wall pose. Okay. The rest of you, lie down on your setup. Have your head on the floor, your shoulders on, your blanket set up, and you got your chair or some kind of, it doesn't have to be a chair, it can just be anything that's with extra height. It could be a piano bench. It could be a stack of books. It could be a large dog if the dog would stay still. It could be, anything. Also, you can set up where your feet go to the wall. Okay? But in any event, you're gonna roll over and get your feet onto the chair and tuck your shoulders underneath you and get into the first position where your fingers are interlaced and your toes are on the chair. Now press the whole arm down into the floor, roll the balls of the feet roll the buttocks toward the heels and pull your arms away from your back and you'll feel your thoracic spine draw in. Yeah, I have to bend the elbows here, I really do. I bent them to get the palms together, but then I put them down straight. Okay? And I make sure my biceps are going up toward the ceiling. So at this point, I can work really hard to get the balls of the thumbs together. But now when I turn down a little bit, it does come away a little bit, but I roll over to more weight into the feet, and I can feel that extension work of the arms really takes the thoracic spine in. Okay. Then do your second hand position. Tuck your shoulders underneath you more. All right, then fingers interlaced, pull out. Try and get your whole arm to go down to the floor. Okay, there you go. All right, then join your palms as much as you can. I did have to bend the elbows to get them joined, but I then straighten them down back toward the floor. And make sure your upper arms are still turning. Now, from the buttocks to the heels, extend as you reach your palms, your fingers back away, and you should feel that take the thoracic spine in. Okay. Then turn the thumbs down a little bit, and that takes the thoracic spine in more. Okay. If you want to go up quickly into Sarvangasana, it'll feel really good. And then go ahead, and if you haven't moved, those of you not doing Sarvangasana, it's fine. You can actually go ahead and come into Shavasana a little bit early. where you just lie down on the floor because everyone else is coming into Shavasana in 30 seconds. So those of you who did go all the way up into Sarvangasana, you should feel a nice lift up through the back body. You can also, all that work is going towards Sarvangasana too, those of you who know that pose. So the same hand positions will work, okay, in Sarvangasana. It's just a lot harder. All right, those of you in Sarvangasana, go ahead and come down to Halasana, roll out of the pose, and then everyone's set up for Shavasana. As you're going into Shavasana and being in Shavasana, just take a moment to observe the good effect that all of this shoulder work has on Shavasana. I find that the way that my hands and shoulders and neck relax after that intense work is very soothing for my brain. And I felt much more able to just sink in, or be, maybe not sink because it's a kind of strange word, be in that space of Sarvangasana. Let your eyes release into the back of your head. Let your tongue release away from the roof of your mouth. Unclench the jaw. Let the back of the throat release. Let the sides of the throat release. Let the base of the throat release. Let your ears draw inward. Completely relax the features of your face. Become quiet within. Patanjali defines yoga as the practice of stilling the fluctuations of the mind. Yoga is a means to that end, but that end is not the final end. The aim of all yoga is to come and to dwell in the seat of your own true splendor. Now consciously use your inhalations to bring that awareness of your true self with you as you go about your work in the world. Place your hands on your rib cage. Bend your knees. Roll over to your right side and use your hands to push yourself back up. Sit up straight and tall. Fold your palms together at your heart. Lift a little bit even here with your thumbs so that you feel that nice release in the trapezius. In gratitude to the benefit you receive from your practice of yoga, in gratitude to the people I have the opportunity to learn and study and practice yoga with, and in gratitude to the lineage of Hatha Yoga itself, is practiced by BKS Iyengar, reaching back to the sages of India, and down through a line of teachers and students to you, here on the mat, in Austin, Texas, or wherever you happen to be in the world through the miracle of Zoom. Namaste. I'm unmuting everyone so you can say hello or goodbye. Hi, Ashwini. Sorry I didn't see you before. Welcome. I really love your little avatar picture too. Okay.
That's my daughter's doing.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Pratima. Bye, Carolyn. Bye, Bob. Great to see you, Karen. Hi, Sugi. Good to see you. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Cliff. Hi, Gay. Hi, Vicky from the back. All right, everyone. I'll see you next time.
Love that hand work.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's
Do it.
really good.
You know, even just when you're sitting around, if you just do that first one with your hands in front of you, it makes a big difference too.
It's the first time I really felt my trapezius release.
Yeah.
It changed so much things. And I'm going back at the end of the month to France.
Okay, great.
I will try to follow you from Gay Paris.
All right. Well, I think everything is recorded too. So even if you can't get here live, you could watch the recording. So.
Terrific.
All right.
All right.
Oh, there you are, Kristen. Hello. So, okay. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.